Good evening, ladies. Here we are, week number 38, word of the week. And guess what? It's not me by myself tonight. I have Leigh Anne Owens Ratliff with me tonight to do the word. I was super excited, Leigh Anne, when you messaged me and said, I will do a word. And I'm so happy and so thankful to have you with me tonight.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So I know that when you and I have been talking throughout the week, trying to work our schedules in order to do this, you had gave a couple different words, and then now when I'm talking to you tonight, you have actually settled on a new word, and this is a word that I think a lot of people can really relate to. So tell everyone what your word is,
My word is regret.
and tell us what the definition of regret is. Like we don't know what regret is, but tell us what the definition is.
Well, as a verb, it is feeling sad, repentant, or disappointment over something that has happened or been done, especially a loss or missed opportunity. As a noun, it's a feeling of sadness, repentance, or disappointment over something that has happened or been done.
And I'm sure that a lot of the women on here tonight, and if you are on here, hello, Marie, glad to have you with us. If you're on here tonight and you've ever experienced regret, give us a heart or a thumbs up or something to let us know that we are not alone on here tonight. So, Leigh Anne, I'm going to turn this over to you because I know that you have a story which I'm very intrigued by because you said you have never shared this story with anyone else except Walter, your husband, correct? And
That
when
is
you're
correct.
so this is like wow to go live and share something you've not shared with anyone else. So just go ahead and let's let you get started.
Okay, well, actually, it's regret turned into self forgiveness,
Okay.
because as a lot of us women do, what we take in and then we take things in and then we don't let it out. We don't share. We don't, because it's just not something we do. So that was kind of, hard for me because I don't really talk about those deep feelings. So the story kind of goes like this. My grandmother was a very, very special person, not only to me, but a lot of people that I'm learning.
Yes.
But she was pretty much my mentor, my go-to person, all growing up, even as I got older, and I had my daughter Alexis and everything. So, if it wasn't for her and my papa, I don't think I would have come to know the Lord. As a child, my parents did take me to church almost every Sunday. We drove from Louisa to Ashland. But I mostly saw it as a thing that I was being drugged to and
Mhm.
not something I wanted to be a part of. And to be honest, it was a church that spoke in tongues and things like that. And as a young child, I had no clue a lot of times what was going on. And they were like, it's okay. It's, that's what they do. And I'm like, yeah, but it still kind of freaks me out a little. But as I got older and everything, and then I had my daughter and stuff, I ended up, my grandparents really kind of talked me into going to church. They're like, you need to come to church. You have this daughter that you need to be looking after, So that I started at Southside. And my grandmother made it feel like a choice, not a have to thing. And then plus I wanted my child to, grow up and know the Lord. So in 1999, I began attending Southside. And later that year, I was saved and baptized. And I have to continue to follow the Lord since. And I kept my promise that I would raise my daughter in church. Not that she attends church now because, she's off doing her thing. But as when we're growing up, we do crazy things and we have, these trivial regrets that, a lot of people don't think anything about. But as I was saying, I developed a huge regret when it involved my granny. My mom's birthday is 2 days after mine. So every year we always celebrated together. And if any of you knew my grandmother, it was a big deal to celebrate something. So every year she would throw us this birthday party. And in 2006, this was no different. She was going to throw us a party, even though, we both lived in Western Kentucky at the time. Me and my mom. I was teaching. My mom was a director down there and stuff. And she wanted to have cake and ice cream and all this stuff at her house and everything. And I was turning 30 years old, and that was a big deal to me. I mean, I regretted 40, but 30 was kind of a big deal. So in celebration of my birthday, I wanted to do something for myself. I didn't want to do the same thing I had done for the past 29 years. So I decided that I was going to go to Kings Island with a friend and take my daughter. And she was 8 at the time, and that's what I done. And when my granny found out that that was my plans, she was devastated. I mean, she was so hurt, and just her tone of voice and everything when I heard it on the phone just broke my heart. But this was something I needed to do for myself, or at least I thought so. So she literally was like, I can't believe you have the nerve to do this, I really struggled with it at first, because I was like, she's my granny. I need to respect her. I need to go do this. I need to go to her house. But at the same time, I was like, I need to do this for myself, So, I took off and I went for the weekend up there, and I did not go to my grandmother's that weekend. And then that was the weekend of August 18th. And then on August 29th, she unexpectedly passed away. And like just a couple of days before she passed away, like she pouted at me and I pouted at her. And we didn't talk, and we were the type that we talked every day on the phone. How was your day? It was this, it was that, this is happening, that type of thing. And it broke my heart when she passed away, but the overwhelming guilty feeling that I missed the opportunity to see my grandmother one last time, that just ate at my heart for years and years and years and years. And at one point, I was just ready to throw my hands up and say, I give up. I can't do this anymore. So I started researching in the Bible for anything that I could about, what I was feeling, the regret, that type of thing. And I knew that it was, I couldn't forgive myself. I knew my grandmother had forgave me. I knew she wasn't mad at me anymore, but it was me. I needed to forgive myself. And I just, I struggled with that and really couldn't do that. And one of my favorite verses that I ran across when I was studying is, for his anger is but for a moment, and his favor is for a lifetime. It's Psalm 35. And
did you say Psalm 30 verse 5?
Yes.
Okay.
And that described my granny. I mean, her anger was just for a moment at me, but she loved me her entire life, and we were like literally two peas in a pod, and it broke my heart that she was upset at me. And then, just a week later, 10, 11 days later, she was gone. And I'm glad that I got the last 2 days to talk to her and everything, and that she wasn't mad at me and stuff, but I still missed that opportunity to see her, to hug her one last time.
So let me ask you before you go. So I want to talk, because there's a lot of women I'm sure are going to be listening to this word, and maybe it's the same thing as everybody else, but what were the underlying things that you kept saying, that you kept holding us? Why couldn't you forgive yourself? Like, what was the enemy, I guess, putting in your mind to kind of imprison you in this unforgiveness for yourself?
My mind kept telling me that, you should have went and saw her. That was your granny. That was, you'll never see her again. You'll never get to hug her again. You're such a horrible, grandchild because you didn't go do this. And, you're a horrible person because, you didn't do what she asked you to do, and now she's gone and you can't go back and redo.
So how long did you carry that with you? Like, how many years did you carry that with you?
I still fight it every day. I mean, that happened in 2008, and I do still fight with it every day. But I, I've kind of, I have done self forgiveness to a point. As I said, I still struggle with it every day, but I work through it every day as well. I've learned that, you know, I prayed every night for forgiveness from the Lord, from my granny, from myself. And, I had to learn coping skills along the way just to help me get past it. And I can't really say that I'm completely past it because it still pops into my mind and things like that. But I am now able to kind of push it out and be
Yes.
like, no, that's not true.
You know, the hard part about this is, and I know your granny well, she was an amazing lady. I mean, she lit up the room. And I think the thing that I could say tonight about her, it would really trouble her or burden her that you have carried this so long. And even though I know that you know that, why is it that us women still feel the need to have to tug this stuff around with us?
I don't know. I literally have fought with that. And I mean, there's been other little things in my life that's dealt a lot with my grandparents and my parents and that type of thing that I have struggled with, and a lot of it is regret. I mean, regret is my biggest issue, I think, that I have. And I think instead of talking about it, I just let it eat at me and eat at me and eat at me and eat at me. And it just, I know it's not right, but it's kind of I think it's a woman thing. I
Well,
mean,
that's
we
that's
just,
so that's so honest for you to, and raw for you to even say that, because it is hard. And so let me ask you this: because of what you experienced, has it changed the way you make decisions now in the future about when you're contemplating doing things? Has that inhibited you or caused you to prolong making a decision, or what other ways has it enabled you or disabled you in a sense?
I'm more prone now to, if someone wants to do something, that I'm like on board. I'm like, yep, I'm game for it. Let's go. Because you just never know in this day and time with COVID and everything else going on. You just never know. And so I'm 110% like, if somebody in my family calls me and they're like, hey, let's go to the mall, or hey, let's go out to eat, I'm like, okay, let's go. Because I never know, and I have that desire to, if I don't do this, what will happen, and that's kind of, I don't really sit and contemplate, oh, well, I really want to do this? Do I, it doesn't matter whether I really want to do it at the time or whether I feel like it, I get up and go do it because I don't want to miss that opportunity.
And this has been going on for a long time for you, as you said. I guess one of the things that, when you think about that, and maybe there's some other women out there that can share some insight, but it is something that we try to move past, but in the mind, it, as you said, when you wake up, it wants to greet you, it wants to go to work with you, it wants to come home with you and have lunch with you and have dinner with you and then go on to bed with you and then get up the next morning. And it is an actual continued battle every single day. Sometimes to what, and yours is regret, and somebody else may be able to share what theirs is. What is it that they struggle with every single day? And you have said it right, that it is. I mean, you know that she's forgiven you. You know that there's no hard feelings, but letting yourself free, it's a fight every day. Even though you are free in Him, the struggle that you're dealing with every day, and people say that's ridiculous, why don't you just move on? But it's real it is that real to you. Everybody has that thing that's so real to them, that
Mm-hmm.
looking in someone else's life, you could say, well, I could fix that so easy, why don't they just do this? But until you're in someone's shoes, you don't understand. And that's one of the things I have learned throughout everything that I've gone through, is not to give advice unless I've really sought the Lord to say, hey, this is what the Lord has given me to give you. But I admire your honesty and your rawness and your courage to share something that you haven't shared with anyone, to everyone, to, how the struggle is so real.
And it has been, and I mean, just a couple of things. I mean, I figured out, if I didn't accept myself, that I would never heal. And if I can't heal, then I can't give that love and everything that she shared with me to my grandchildren. And I have two of those now. So, or actually I have four. I have two stat, but I mean, it just, I need to be able to share that love. And that's a woman thing too, to be nurturing, to be loving, to be, and if I am, ate up inside of me, and the depression sets in and that type of thing, I can't share those moments with my grandchildren and my children, and that's not fair to them.
You're right. You said something right there. And so I think I see different people commenting on here. It is the enemy wants us to plant the seed of regret, and he wants us to nurture it and water it every day, because what blooms from regret is just like you said, depression, bitterness, anger, resentment, all those things. He is hoping that you won't go out and till every day, that you won't pull up the weeds that's in the soil of your heart and your mind, so that he will that you will allow that to continue to grow. And I'm really going to say that takes a lot of courage, and I'm really proud that you're able to step up and say, first of all, I think the first thing about release is to recognize
Mm-hmm.
what I've got to do and what I'm not doing, and then for you to battle it like you have been. And you said you looked up and found many scriptures, and the Psalm 30 verse 5 was, you're right, it does explain it defines your granny perfectly.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it just hit when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, that describes her. I mean, she did that all the time, and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that, I kind of hurt her feelings over or whatever, but, she didn't express it like she did with me not, coming that weekend and stuff. And, because I guess because she expressed it and it broke my heart, that it just has sat there. And,
Yes.
I couldn't let it keep festering. I mean, it was eating me up inside.
And,
So I had to do something.
and the harder thing for you is that a lot of people, we can have regret about doing things, so we can go back and talk to those people. But your regret is like this void regret, because you can't actually mend it like you wanted to, per
Right.
se. Yes. I can
Yeah.
understand that being such a stronger struggle. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just, if it hadn't have been, if she was still here, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I would have been like, okay, I'm over that. I'm done with that. But that, was my last opportunity. I missed that opportunity. So, every day I'm just being thankful for the opportunity to be able to learn, to be able to share what I know, to be able to, share with my grandchildren and my children and my husband and my friends and everything. And also to make mistakes and be able to say, I'm sorry, I own up to this. It was a mistake. And, please forgive me type thing. I'm very quick now to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I
Yes.
made this mistake, yes, I did it. It was me, type thing, which I never was before. Before
Right.
I was always like, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I didn't, that wasn't me. Or, it was like I'd never fess up to something, and I would argue tooth and toenail to try to make a point.
To be right, to be right, right, to
I
be the
was
one.
right.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, nope, I made a mistake. It was me.
And something I think that you made a great point here. I love something you just said. It's last and missed opportunities. And I don't know how many of us on here listening tonight can experience that very same thing, last and missed opportunities. But with your lesson, with what you're giving us tonight, how we can shift what we're doing in the future to take advantage of those opportunities, and so that we don't have to be saying that I had that last opportunity or I missed that opportunity. And this even goes even deeper into our relationship with Christ, right? About not missing opportunity to worship with him or read the scripture or visit with him or pray with him. And it can go along with that relationship as well, don't you think?
Yes, 110%. It has. I think it has brought me closer to the Lord, because I did pray every night for that forgiveness, and, just how can I go about self-forgiveness, and, he kind of led me through that and everything, and I think because of that, my relationship has grown stronger with him. And, I try to make up for that missed opportunity with my granny in other areas, because she was, of course, president of the WAC, and now I'm part of the WAC, and then I know she done all of these other things throughout life and with the church, and in service of God and that type of thing, and now I see myself striving to be more like that. I am doing the Operation Christmas Child this year, and I want it to be like the best. She so is embedded in me, because I'm like, let's do this big and bold, and like she would do it, and I see me doing a lot of the things that she done, that I saw as a kid. But now I'm, taking it in and, kind of doing the same things. And I'm like, how did she do this stuff and that type of thing? And, I'm learning as I go. And, I think that's just part of life, and not to be able to dwell on the regret. If I keep reliving that moment, it's just going to keep eating at me. So instead of reliving that moment, I'm reliving the good moments and what I saw her do, and kind of jumping off of that and running with it, I guess.
So I love that, because you're saying that you're not thinking about the missed opportunities, but you're reliving the good memories that you have, what matters, and then you're actually putting yourself into as an outlet of service to give back. Even when you messaged me and said, I'll do it, and I was like, really? And so I was so excited, because I have been able to see your boldness and your growth just in your faithfulness and everything that you do. But I know that she'll be super proud of how you're doing that. And I think that whether you realize what you've shared tonight or not, that you've given a kind of a battle plan for people who are dealing with regret or carrying on about this missed or last opportunities that we might have had. Don't waste our time dwelling on what we've missed, but let's move forward, and let's even more so become the servant that Christ needs us to be, and throw ourselves into the opportunities that's before us and at hand.
Yep. That's my goal.
Did you have other verses to share, or was that your
just
key verse?
Just that one.
Okay, I love that key verse. So let me just say this: what a beautiful story to share, especially since I know your granny. She was amazing. And tell Vertrice was Leigh Anne's granny. If you did not know that, she was an amazing lady at church, and she is forever. She's forever going to be remembered there. But if you had to share tonight a word of advice, say take yourself back that long ago, and you've been carrying this regret and this guilt, or whatever we want to name it, and you finally found a way to go to the Lord, first of all, to let Him help you cope, or to give you the way to get through. What would you want to say to women out there tonight who may be carrying guilt, who may be carrying regret because of missed opportunities or last opportunities? What would you say to them tonight?
If it is a missed opportunity that they can make up for, go make up for it. Don't hesitate, just go do it. If it is a opportunity that they cannot redo, I would recommend, long and hard studying about why they have the regret because of the missed opportunity. Was it their fault? Was it, because see, mine was selfishness is what and that's my big thing. That I see that, I guess that's why I'm having such a hard time about it, because it was like my selfishness come back and bit me in the butt. Pretty much. Wow. The Lord was like, bam, I want to show you be selfish. This is what I see. And that's kind of, that I think that's why it ate at me. And, I think I would tell everyone to go make up for those opportunities if possible. If not possible, then turn it to something else. Do something in that person's memory. Do something, to help yourself not think about the past. Don't dwell on it. Don't, just do something. Whatever the Lord guides you to do, go do it. Don't hesitate. Don't sit and think about the negative thoughts that are going in your brain. Think about the good things. So I mean, that's what I would tell people.
That's beautiful, and I love this, and I'll let you go. But the last that you talked about how you actually called yourself selfish, and see, those are eye-opening moments when we're able to really, when God can confront us with that, and then we can embrace that. Okay, you're right, I am. Now let me deal with it. Not
Right.
let me pretend that it doesn't exist. So, Leigh Anne, you have really provided a lot of great insight, and I'm sure a lot of the ladies on here tonight will give you some hearts for sharing your very bold and raw story, and about how you managed to get through every every single thing that you have gone through, everything that you have dealt with, and the things that just this one word regret actually led to missed opportunities, lost opportunities, selfishness, guilt, all these things. That one word really is tied to so many things. And so, ladies, tonight, embrace what she has showed you, study, let the Lord help you get through forgiving yourself and set yourself free. Anything else you want to share tonight, Leigh Anne?
Nope. Just love you all and pray for me.
Yeah, yes. So thank you so much. And ladies, again, and next week, and I'm just going to share this again. So I still don't have the rest of the year filled up. We're on week 38. We got 52 weeks to go. I have a few women that scattered out later in the year, and really pray about an opportunity. A story as simple but raw as Leigh Anne's story can really, I've seen so many people interact, not really change things. So if you have a word or something that you want to share that is using your story for God's glory to help encourage other women, to help get through the battles, we all need each other. So I really encourage you to pray about that and message me. I would love to have you on sometime this coming week for a new word of the week. And Leigh Anne, I appreciate you so much.
No
I'm
problem.
just proud of all the great work you're doing, the things, and how you're turning this around, and investing yourself into an opportunity and not living in the past.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you so much, and we'll see you again. It'll be sometime this week since we're already at the end, but it'll be sometime this week. We'll be sharing the next word. You guys have a great evening.
Thanks.